We're joined now by Cori Crider. She's a legal director at Reprieve, which represents some of the detainees at Guantanamo. The clashes between the prisoners and the guards at the prison and this ongoing hunger strike are all, I believe, part of an ongoing protest. Are many of your clients refusing to eat, and why?
Yes, a number of our clients are on hunger strike. We've heard. We've got a Yemeni client who told me on Monday that he'd been striking since February. He's lost over 30 pounds. And when you think about this supposed clash, I'd take it with a grain of salt, but remember who has the power here, and that's the Defense Department. It's not the prisoners. And this Yemeni described in the middle of March, when he had to be hospitalized and was still refusing to eat, the IRF team at Gitmo, which is a group of people in riot squad, chaining him to the bed so he could be force-fed. So let's remember, there's a real imbalance of power here, and these people are using just about the only option they have left to protest.
But what are they protesting?
I think the thing that set it off, anyone will tell you, at the beginning of February was an abusive search of the Quran. But the thing that keeps the strike going is that the guards won't make any compromises. The military authorities won't even let them give up their Qurans. If the prisoners say, if you're going to continue to search them, fine. I just don't want to have it in my cell. The military won't give any ground on that. And then, of course, there's the fact that these people have been detained for over 11 years. Over half of these people are cleared, and there's no end in sight. The most troubling part is that President Obama's press office, when asked about the hunger strike, keeps referring people to DOD. This is the man who campaigned for the closure of Guantanamo, just shrugging off requests about the biggest hunger strike we've had in years.
General John Kelly, who's head of the U.S. Southern Command, said that the detainees who are being force-fed, I quote, present themselves daily, calmly, in a totally cooperative way to be fed through a tube, and that they know that the prisoners are eating when they're in their cells. And Guantanamo officials have also denied the claims that the strike began after the Quran was mishandled.
Well, you know, these are the same military officials, the same part of the U.S. government that used to call suicide attempts asymmetric warfare. So I think it's important to treat these things with a little bit of skepticism. But people have lost weight, that's very clear, and we've been told people are being force-fed, which is an agonizing process. You don't have to take that from me. Take it from your own cameraman, Samuel Hodge, who, when he was released from Guantanamo by a DOD in 2008, hadn't eaten food in over a year. It is absolute agony to be force-fed through your nose, through a tube. It's painful.
Now, Cori, the wider issue, the underlying reason for all this unhappiness is, I believe, the lack of any clarity about their future. I think that many of the prisoners, we've seen reports anyway, that they fear they'll die in Guantanamo like other prisoners before them. Are any of your clients among the nearly 100 detainees who've been cleared for release? What's happening to them?
Virtually all of Reprieve's clients are cleared for release, and they've been cleared many times over. They were cleared under George Bush by annual panels. They were then cleared by President Obama, and still they don't see any movement. We've got the last British resident, Shakar Amr. The UK government says that it's trying to get him out, but they're either really, I think, feckless or indifferent. Because if you can't get a cleared man out to his wife and kids in the UK, then what can you do?
All right,
President
Cori.
Obama says Congress has made it difficult to close Guantanamo, but the fact is, where there's a political will, there's a way. There is a chance, there is room in the NDAA to transfer prisoners, and these guys, they just don't see any end in sight. So I don't see what we all expect them to do after this long.
All right, Cori, thank you very much for speaking to us. Cori Crider is legal director at Reprieve, which represents some of the detainees at Guantanamo Bay.